There, I was just making sure that things are working properly, um, which they seem to be. Right, so let's try and wrap this up. That's what today is going to be about, wrapping up this first iteration of the application. Um, so we've got this, everything's loaded, and it's been a couple of weeks, I know, because last time I was doing this, I was off work, so I had plenty of time to do it, and it's just been so hot where I am. That's why I haven't streamed much since then, but I haven't done anything further. It's just purely I was working all day, and then it was just so hot. I couldn't sit in front of a computer anymore in the evenings. But let's do run our start me script. Now, I'm quite happy that I've done that. I'm going to have to use this start me script in the other projects that I do, just because it's nice. It opens up a browser to the right page with like debugger and everything. So what we're going to do today is just run basically through some tests. So this could be a 10-minute video or a 3-hour video. We don't know. But I'm going to try and fix up as much as I possibly can. Right. So let's see if we can create a hobby from scratch. Let's try. Let's just delete this. Are you sure you want to delete knitting? Yes. And so we're going to create crochet. Okay, so now we get the crochet in here. We're going to click on that and we're going to config. Let's add one of each. Crochet text. Config crochet num. Config crochet list. And now see we've got a nice little plus to the side. And what's the last type? A checkbox. Crochet check. Okay, so far so good. We've got all this. Let's just check the network. Everything seems fine so far. I am some text. Crochet number is that, and check that. Save item. Crochet list. ASD. Okay, so here's our first thing, trying to add to the combo list doesn't do anything. we can't cancel. So let's just reload that page and let's jump to here. Okay, so when I adding values to a combo does not work, I can click the plus button and a modal appears. Can enter text for a value, but clicking add or cancel does nothing. There is no reaction at all. Clicking cancel should cancel the current adding process. The add button should, was it add? What did it do? Yes, that is add. The add button should create a record in the database. Right, let's reload the page. Add value, happy. Cancel. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to restart the app just to make sure there's nothing weird caching. So we've got this crochet. And click plus, a value, add. Okay, so that is a weird one. When I added a value to the combo, the browser debugger showed this. Expects a plain string, send option text. The combo would be a text value, even if numbers are entered, they would be considered text values as no math would be required. Okay, so let's do this. Let's stop that server. Go into crochet, we're going to add a value, we're going to we're going to add okay, that seems to be fixed. Right, so let's go to our Git and following along from our previous one. So we're going to do 1309. I can't remember if I've done 2025 or just 25. Just do 25 underscore fixed combo. Let's get all that in, and oops, I didn't do keep. So okay, so that's sent it. Let me see, did I do that? Yeah, let's have it like that so we can see what's going on. Now this bit down here, let's right. So when items are added, it is showing created at ID hobby. This should show all of the values, for the item, the created at should be cleaned up to look prettier for date and time. Right, so I've tried to give it as much help as I can. I've given it like the exact bit where it's creating those and given it a good guide that we need. Items now display only user-friendly fields, and created date time is shown in a readable format. Internal fields like ID and hobby ID are hidden. Right, that sounds good. That did make a couple of assumptions there, but good ones. Like the idea, we don't care about the IDs. I mean, if I was building this properly, like seriously, and I wanted some sort of debugging going on, then yeah, we'd want to see the IDs so that we could, I don't know, like run scripts and check things, blah, blah. But as at right now, we don't care. And look at all this. So we're getting OKs. So I'm going to stop that. And let's start that up again. Let's get into crochet. Right. So delete does nothing. I try to delete an item at the bottom of the page, it says you can now delete items from the list. Okay, so let's stop that. Let's close. Crochet, and if I delete, are you sure you're going to delete this item? Yes. Right. Right. Sorry, there's just a little struggle with me because just looking at that time, I know there's other things going on and going wrong here. I always prefer 24-hour time just because it's clearer. So if I click delete, okay, I don't like that. So deleting an item should have a modal just like it does with deleting a hobby. Okay, so let's give that a go. We'll close this browser. We are going to stop that. It's a good job this is just a small app because it just takes like that second to crochet. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do because we've made lots of changes. And I'll tell you what, I am close to like just giving up on this because not giving up on this one, it's just taking a lot of time fixing things that it keeps breaking. Right, so what do I want to do? I had a script to reset DB. There we go. So we've got a nice clean one. So let's create crochet. Come in here. Yeah, see, so it's broken that now. One of those frustrating ones. So look, and this is only the first one, and I am using an older version of ChatGPT. It's 4.1. It's becoming frustrating. This now comes up when I click config button. keep that. We'll shut that down. We'll go Control C and start it up. It's going to crochet. No, config still doesn't work. Copy console. Okay, so let's close that. Nope. Let's see what it says. Crochet config. Oh, what a shocker. Nothing. Right. Like it's going to be one of them days, isn't it? It literally said it fixed it, and I said, "Are you sure?" And it said yes, and it still didn't fix it, and has allegedly fixed it now. So let's close. And the reason I'm closing and stopping everything is just making sure that there's no caching or anything going on. So crochet config. Oh, look at that! It still doesn't work. Right, okay, this is about the 5th time you've said it was fixed. Are you positive? Do you want to double check before I lose my shit on you? Now, like, I don't think I've checked anything in. so I could roll back. Right, so it seems to have just given up. Right, this will be the final try. If it hasn't fixed it, I'm just gonna drop everything that, yeah, and it didn't. So let's go here, changes, discard all changes. Yes. Right, so we're back to there. Nothing got fixed, just in case anyone's like, oh, it just worked. It's not. I just got rid of everything it does. So what I'm going to do, like, because one of the things I am interested in is creating an APK to see if this will work on an Android. So stop that. Are you able to convert this whole project into an .apk file I can load onto an Android device? Guide you to package your web UI as an Android app using Cordova or Capacitor. Right, so that's actually an idea. So like this is something I can do. It's saying, right, so I'm going to try this first one because that says it's an easy fix. But next time I do it, that's interesting. Rewrite the front end. So that is something. Now, it's going to be slightly different when I do this again. So I'd recently learned about like the rules files for AI. So what I'm going to do on the next iteration of this is basically build a rules file. And I think that might be something that we put in there. Like it will be this will become an Android APK so that it builds the front end in something that would make that easier. So let's do, yes, let's use Cordova or Capacitor. Right, so great. Here's how you package. So install Cordova, create a new Cordova project. Add the Android platform. Copy your web UI files, HTML, JS, CSS to www folder. Copy everything from your fast API static directory and any HTML. Transfer and install the APK on your Android device. Yes, create a script for this. Run the script in PowerShell from the root of your project. APK will be built and placed in hobby fast API platforms, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep that. And it says, there we go, that one. Nope. Creating Cordova project. Install Android. Set the Android home environment variable. Right, install Android Studio. I could have sworn I had Android Studio already installed. Android Studio. Isn't it weird that when you search for Android Studio, it doesn't even bring up like the first option is ads. It's not even like doesn't even go to Android Studio. Download the latest version. Download Android Studio. I'm just having a look at the website. Start Android Studio, install Android Studio, downloads. Okay, I was just making sure that there wasn't some weird like community edition or I will bring the installer over to the screen that I'm sharing in a minute. Just waiting for it to, oh, there we go. And I'll bring this over now. So we're going to go next. Yep, we want virtual devices. We're going to install it there. Yep, we're going to have that. Don't want to start it. Right, let's have a look at environment variables, and it's saying set one called Android Home. It's saying go to C, users, my name, app data. Now app data is a hidden folder, but I of course already have it set so that I can see it. Local Android is not there. Let's start up Android Studio. I wonder if it creates it. Yeah, setup wizard. So when you install Android Studio, it's not showing up where I thought. So let's cancel that. Next, Android virtual device. That all looks fine to me. There we go. So this is one of those weird bits of software where you install the installer. If you've ever done SQL Server, that's a similar thing. You go on the Microsoft site, you download the SQL Server installer, but really you're installing the installer to then install SQL Server. You're not installing SQL Server. Right, just closing up my environment variables. I'm going to minimize this, just leave it running, and I'm going to end environment. Let's just see if it created it. No. So I want to do new, and it was Android underscore home. The value is on C users me app data local. Yep. So you have to do that bit just to show it. Like, so this folder wasn't showing up, but it is now. So Android SDK. Okay. Okay. Add the SDK tools and platform tools folders to your system path. Step 3, what do you mean? Right, that's all it meant. So I'm going to edit, I'm going to do new. Let me get those paths. See users, my username, app data, local, Android, SDK, platform tools. Right, I don't have a tools, I only have the platform tools. So let's just make sure. Right, so let's see what this does. Right, okay, so right, okay. Install Android Studio includes Gradle. Well, it didn't. So I have Android Studio installed. Let's change it to an ask. Where would it have put Gradle? Okay, so let's have a look, see if that is true. Let me go to, where is it saying? See users. There is not a .gradle. There's .android studio installer. Okay, let's try the other ones. So see program files, Android Studio, plugins, Gradle. Looks like it is here. Right, there is not a bin folder there. Right, let's just download manually because installing manually. Pilot complete if in doubt. Okay, so I'm just on the other screen, just grabbing Gradle. Let's close this down for now. Okay, so I'm just going to put this onto my C drive. So we're doing this. I've downloaded it. It's just unzipping and doing that. So I'm going to be doing environment variables. Okay, so I just added Gradle. It's still unzipping. CD would go one path above. We'll get that ready. So what we're going to do while that's doing its thing is we are going to start putting together a markdown file. But we're going to get the AI to do it. So please, no. So create a markdown file that will be used for instructions and rules for AI to build an app. Backend will be fast API. Be in a way that makes it easy to build an Android APK later down the line. Right, okay, so let's finish copying. Let's do this. Right, while that's doing its thing, let's continue here. Okay, I kind of give up now on this one. Let's just roll this back. Changes, discard all. Yeah, get rid of them. Right, so let's try this front end will be React. First page that opens will be the main screen. This will have a text box to we're calling it Hobbies is a web application where hobbies can be added to the main screen. Clicking on a hobby after one is created, it'll open a new window, a new page. We'll list all the items added to the hobby and their values. The premise of the application is to track items needed for a hobby. For example, if on the main screen I added knitting, then when I click on knitting to get to the items page, I would want to be able to configure custom fields like text boxes, integer boxes, combo boxes, and radio buttons. Example fields may be things like a combo box for the knitting needle size. Integer box may be used for quantity of items like needles or yarn. Checkbox could be for how should we describe this? What would you use a checkbox for? We'll leave that. The items page will be blank for a brand new hobby, but there should be a button to configure the hobby. This button would open up a modal that asks for text for the field name and a drop down to select the type, which would be text, number, combo, radio. Boolean. Let's have Boolean. I've never liked the term radio for those. I get it. Like, as far as I remember, showing off my age here, but it was called radio button because very, very old car stereos, and if you've seen them, they had like 6 buttons, and that's how you preset your radio stations, because you'd have to tune it with a knob, and then you sort of stored where it'd be, and you'd push the buttons, and it would jump to that radio station. So effectively, you've got these 6 buttons, and you could only ever have one selected at a time. So that's, you know what I mean, like that. So yes and no. You can't have yes and no. It's yes or no. Uh, the type, which would be text, number, combo, boolean. It should allow for multiple fields to be added. It should allow for multiple fields to be added. When the hobby is added, it will write to a SQLite DB the contain a GUID and right. So that's that. There will be a hobby underscore items table, which will have a GUID foreign key to the primary key in hobby. There'll be a hobby items table, which will have GUID. This table will store all values stored in the custom fields when they are created. Right, we are going to give it a little screenshot to help it when we do this. Will need to be a table that stores the values entered into custom combo boxes. Need to be a table that stores values. This would link to a hobby and items. So example, if I create knitting as a hobby, and when I go to items, I create a custom field called needle size, as a combo, then that field needs to relate to the hobby of knitting, so there is no usage of this field in a different hobby. Also, when an item is added, the value of that selection combo also when an item is added, the value of that selection in the when an item is added, the GUID of that selection, I think actually we use the term UID now, like UUID, of that selection in the combo would be put in the item table. Right, see what I'm going to do is go to Joplin. Skip version. Right, so new note is we're going to call this Claude build. I'm just putting screenshots in. Okay, so we've done that. We've got our screenshots in. In the screens section of this document are two mocked up screenshots. The first is an idea for the main page where you would enter a value in the hobby name and click add hobby. This would create a value lower down with an edit and delete button. Edit and delete buttons will be used throughout. In context. So clicking the delete next to knitting would delete that hobby and all items and relative data. Clicking edit would open a modal as if adding a hobby, but allow to edit the name. This of course would update the hobby table name field. When clicking on the button with the label of the hobby, that is when the item page would open. A user would have the ability to add fields on here as mentioned earlier. When a user enters values for the fields and clicks save, then that item data would appear at the bottom of the item screen with the addition of created date should also be a each item like a hobby will have all of the values entered plus an edit or delete that would do like with a hobby and pop up a modal to either confirm deletion, which would then just delete that item from items, or edit, which would show all the fields with the current items values to allow you to edit them, and when they click save, we'll update the items table and the web UI. Custom field is as a combo. There should be a plus symbol next to the label created for that specific combo field. This will open a modal that displays all current. It should open a modal that allows the addition of values for combo box. Adding to a combo. Right. I think we should break this down a bit more. So Hobbies is a web application that writes to a database allows for the addition, the tracking of hobbies and all the items required for that hobby. Actually, what we're going to do, let's open Copilot. Let's just get it to do that. Right, so let's see what this has done. Right, so I'm going to do this. Just copy this. And I'm going to paste it into my Joplin. Let's do this. let's get as much of this as possible. This could use a Google sign in, or maybe users table where a password would securely be stored as a hash. Okay. Upload of images would be good. Store that in a DB as maybe a data URL or something else. Okay, so let's go up, let's see what it said when I first done this. Okay, right, so give me an updated version of that markdown file, and yes, it would be at readme.md. Okay, let's just read over it and let's just see if this is SQL backend fast React front end optimized for future Android APK. Right, so that has given me a good little thing. So main screen is input hobby name button, add hobby, list of hobbies with edit, delete, rename hobby via modal, delete, remove hobby and all related data. I'll tell you what, let's zoom down. Let's do this. Right, so let's see what this has done. Let's get rid of our prompty bits because we're actually going to use this and point the AI to it. So Hobbies, Hobby Item Tracker. Hobbies is a web application designed to help users track the items and tools they use for their hobbies. That's spot on. Whether you're into knitting, painting, woodworking, or cosplay, Hobbies lets you create custom fields for each hobby and manage your inventory with ease. That's spot on. That is exactly what I wanted. Happy with that. Features. Add and manage hobbies. Yes. Configure custom fields per hobby. Text, number, combo, boolean. Yes. Add and edit items with values for each field. Yes. Upload images for hobbies and items. Secure login. SQLite database. Blah, blah, blah. Screens overview. Main screen. Input hobby name. Button. Add hobby. Yep, that's correct. So list hobbit, right. So that bit's correct. Items page, blank on first visit. Button, configure hobby, opens modal to add custom fields. Form appears with configured fields. Button to add. Right, so that needs tidying up a bit. Blank if no items or fields have been created. Button, configure hobby, opens modal to add custom fields. If they have already been created. Database display using image source data. Yeah, that sounds logical to me. Display using image source data image, and then it would put the data URL in there. Sanitize option. Yeah, that's good. Okay, hobby items be a GUID. Created date, field values, custom field values, image data, additional tables. Tech stack. Front end is React, back end fast API, database SQLite, auth, Google Auth, local login. Image store is base 64. Tagging, categorization, cloud sync, advanced field types, user roles, and share. Right, I don't want those. That seems Right, let's go to here. Let's just tweak it a little bit. CSS file should make the whole theme of the app look like bees. So lots of yellow and black. Right. You know what? I'm not going to give it those images. I want it to see what Claude comes up with, and we'll go from there. Shall we go for it? Right, let's close that. I'm going to Control C out of that. Stop all of that. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to delete that. New folder on hobbies underscore Claude. Yeah, you can ask.
What's your like water to gravy ratio? Because the thing says 1 cup, but I don't know if you do that.
I do probably 3/4.
So 3/4 of a cup?
3/4 of a
Yeah.
cup. Yeah, just a little bit less. That makes it thicker.
Okay, because I was just gonna make mashed potatoes and gravy. So.
Yeah. Right. I'll tell you what. Right. So I'm going to call it in a little bit, but let's get this thing started. I'm actually kind of intrigued. So what I'm going to do is close. Let's get out of this. There's my Joplin. Here's my notes that I put together. I'm going to close that. I am opening with code. So I've just created a new folder. copy. Right, now what we're going to do, Claude Sonnet 4. In the current directory, build me a app based on the rules. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's go add file, readme.md. So let's just give it the readme.md. Based on the readme.md file, add a .ignore be in fast API, so we'll need a virtual environment for Python at the start. Do everything without prompts unless you really need clarification on anything. Right, let's see what Claude does. Okay, well that's off to a good start, isn't it? Right, I'm going to copy and paste directly. Okay, so the ticket topics include, yes. Right, so as it can't read the README, right, let's just copy what we need. Licensing, future enhancements we don't need. You know what? Let's stop it here. Right. Okay. So that's right. So I'll tell you what, we're not going to do anything from here. I'll maybe jump on tomorrow and actually start this ball rolling. But yeah, if anyone did watch, I'll probably schedule something for tomorrow and we'll actually start with Claude to see if that can, well, basically, we're just going to see what it does with the same prompts from before, but we're now using an actual file giving it what it should build. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll see everyone tomorrow.